Hello and welcome to an RC Empire video featuring the mighty HPI Savage X4.6. Now it's been a while since we featured this mega truck in any of our videos and we have definitely missed it. What we have here today is our 2008 HPI Savage X4.6 kit number 873, which came with reverse and the awesome bulletproof F4.6 engine. And after 11 years, we've only ever had to change a handful of parts and consumables. Now in this episode, we will be changing the stock original clutch bell. Now this is only stripped because last year I had a spare steel spur gear, part number 77132, and decided to put it on the truck, without upgrading to the Hardened racing clutch bell that HPI recommended to use with this steel spur gear, and this clutch was part number 77106, and of course the steel spur gear chewed through the original pinion and clutch bell in a matter of minutes. It's worth also mentioning that the spur gear that was on the truck was the original one that came in the box, and this has lasted for around 10 years of hard use. So a great job all round by HPI on this truck. So let's get started. This will be an easy job to do, and to do this we firstly want to remove the engine from the truck. So we can firstly remove the roll cage, and the good thing is you don't need to completely remove it to get to the engine. Just pull out the two clips here on the back, lift it up, and this will give you all the access you need to get the engine out. Next we can remove the exhaust. Again, you don't need to remove this completely, just unclip this spring around the engine and the exhaust will simply pop off the back there. Now it's always worth inspecting the gasket there too, because it does tend to crack and perish. Also remove your fuel hoses too. And with that all out the way, you can go ahead, turn the truck over and remove the engine. Again, this is super simple. You will find 4 screws on the bottom of the chassis and 4 holes in the skid plate that will give you access to the screws. So get your hex driver, locate the screws and crack them off. With those out, turn the truck upright and the engine will simply lift down, giving us access to the clutch bell as well as exposing the spur gear, which will also be changing back to the plastic one. Now this engine is practically like new. You'll see later on in the series just how much power and wheelie pulling torque it still has. But you can also see that the pinion on the clutch bell has been totally stripped by the spur gear. It didn't stand a chance. So the one we will be using for this replacement is another stock one, purely because unfortunately it's getting very hard to find HPI parts, and we're going to use the stock clutch bell with the plastic spur gear, which if meshed correctly will last many years, as we've already seen. And we'll be fitting part number A992. If we open this up now and take a look at what's included. Quickly, we've got the instructions just telling you what spur gear and what pinion to use. And here it is, our brand new shiny clutch bell, 17 tooth to fit to a standard 47 tooth spur gear. And this particular spur to pinion setup will give us plenty of wheelie pulling torque from the Savage. Now to replace the old one is again really easy. Unscrew this screw here on the front, crack that off, and the old one will simply lift off. You can also see our upgraded HPI clutch shoes, which we put in and are still looking in great condition. One thing that isn't included with the clutch are these bearings, so pop those out, give them a clean or replace them and put them back into the new clutch bell. Then reassemble everything. Put your screw back on, and that's it for the engine. Super quick and easy. As also mentioned, we will take a look at and replace the spur gear back to the original plastic one, because we don't want to chew up this pinion again. Here is the original one from new out the box, and actually it's not in too bad a condition at all, and I reckon there's still a good bit of life left in this. But since we've got everything off, we might as well change it to a new one. What you want to do here is remove the brass bearing from the old spur gear and put it into the new one, as this is not included. We will also change the slipper pad to a nice new one too. So peel the sticky back paper off and stick it into the grooves that you can see on the back of the spur gear. And with that ready, we can fit it to the car. So remove the old one, and this is actually a lot easier to do if you remove the fuel tank with the 2 pins. With that off, replace the metal clutch plate that makes contact with the slipper pad, making sure that it sits on the 2 locator pins. Then push the spur gear on, replace your washer, your spring and the nut, and tighten everything up. And I'll normally tighten this right up and then back off a turn or so. And all that's left to do now is replace our big old F4.6 engine with a new clutch bell. What I'll do at this point is also put a dab of Loctite on the screws before screwing them in from the bottom. And with the engine loosely in, you can mesh the spur gear to the pinion. And on this truck, I'll normally use the paper method, as it's almost impossible to visually inspect or feel the gap between the gears and test them for play. But once that's all meshed, tighten everything up and you're good to go. The only thing left to do now is to replace the exhaust with the retainer spring. And you can just stretch that round with a pair of pliers. And that's it. This job with the correct tools was half an hour at tops, and it is really easy to do. It also gives you the opportunity to inspect the truck whilst you have all the components off, and of course it's great fun to see how the truck works and how everything's put together. But that's it from this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back very soon with some videos of this monster in action, ripping over some jumps and possibly at the off-road track. So do keep an eye out for that. Please rate, comment, subscribe and also share this video. Thank you for watching and see you soon.